Hi, my name is Charlie McGrath. I'm the founder of WideAwakeNews.com, and I host on the Rinse Radio Network. Syria, war. We got to go in. We got to get this done. This is the message from Washington, D.C. Both teams, miraculous, right? They're on the same page now. This is the message from Washington, D.C. This is the message from establishment media. Nonstop, every channel, making the case for killing Assad, making this case for toppling a government. What are we not being told? Again, we talk about the things that establishment media, Washington, D.C. wants you focused on. What do they not want you focused on? Or what are we not talking about? Well, economic statistics came out today. Data that should terrify everybody in this country. We don't have a nation that is heading towards a sustainable recovery. We don't have a recovery. We don't have a nation that is heading towards economic growth. We don't have a nation that is heading towards building partnerships around the world to increase our manufacturing capacity, increase our exports. Just the opposite. We have a nation of status quo. And the status quo is this fantasy economy created by Wall Street, trading paper back and forth, pretending this is sustainable growth and something that is going to grow us out of this depression that we're in. But it's not. The status quo is going to get us the same thing. Now, I know that's not a hard concept to understand, but if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to get the same result, and that's exactly what we're getting. What am I talking about? 90,473,000 working age Americans. These are Americans that fall into that category, 16 plus years old to the max working age of 65 years old. 90 million of them, 473,000, are no longer in that working pool. Should that shock you? Yeah, it should. 310 million people in this nation, far less than that in the working pool, and 90 million of them just gave up. Just gave up. In the year 2009, we all remember that, just a few years ago, 2009, it was 80 million were not in the working pool. An increase of nearly 10 million people in the last couple of years. This is the direction we continue to march down. This is the direction we're heading, and where we're going to end up is in utter complete financial collapse, utter complete ruin financially, and a world that has zero sympathy for the plight of the United States of America, the war-mongering United States of America. $16,699,396,000 is our current sovereign national debt. Miraculously, it hasn't budged in 100 days. We're $25 million away from the legal debt limit set by Congress that we violate at every single turn. Just a few years ago, it was about $8 trillion. Now we've doubled it to almost $17 trillion. And the fiscal hawks in Washington, D.C., Eric Cantor, John Barner, they're gonna put the brakes on Washington. They're gonna control it. They're gonna balance the budget in 10 years. Blah, blah, blah. We hear this stuff all the time. What does Eric Cantor come out and say today? By mid-October, the GOP himself and the rest of the GOP is going to raise that debt ceiling. They're going to raise it on up there. So here we go again. The same talk from the same people on the same topics as we march towards utter, complete collapse. It's not going to last forever. It's not. It can't, and it won't. We already see nations around the world putting up the stop signs to the United States. You don't see one nation being invaded or one nation being bombed after another, one destabilized zone after another, with the world just sitting back and accepting what we're saying as fact. They're standing up and saying enough is enough. Breaks my heart to say this about my own country, but we're turning into the despots of the world. We're despots internationally, and we're despots domestically. Our nation is broken. It's broken. And these individuals in D.C., these individuals like Cantor, like Bonner, like McCain, like Graham, these individuals that want to talk about it's time to go in and kill dictators and go in and topple regimes, they themselves are the ones that have turned out to be the dictators, the oppressors of the American dream, the oppressors of the morals of this nation. John McCain in a Scottsdale, Arizona town hall meeting to promote killing Syrians. This town hall meeting was put on. Quoted as saying to one of his constituents, he's not going to answer his question because it's beneath him. The question had to do with America's involvement in this chemical attack. It's a legitimate question. We back, we fund, and we're soon going to arm, and probably soon going to give Al-Qaeda and al-Nusra the most powerful Navy and Air Force on the planet. So it's a legitimate question. It's a question that the rest of the international community is not afraid of asking. When he asked John McCain about our involvement in this chemical attack, John McCain says he doesn't have to answer it because it's beneath him. But what's not beneath John McCain, what's not beneath him as he sits in a Senate hearing talking about the causes, the just cause in going into Syria, another just cause, another attack that must happen in order to spread freedom. Well, John McCain's sitting there listening to this propaganda. He's caught on tape, caught on camera, sitting there playing his iPhone, playing video poker. See, despots are here in our own land, right? These folks who get into Washington, D.C. and stay there forever, they don't stay there forever because they're serving you. They're not serving we the people. They're serving special interests. This is how they maintain their power. And once they have that power, they control what we get to talk about. They control what we get to vote on. They control who lives, who dies. They get to control what banks live. They get to control what businesses live. And now it turns out they're getting to control what individuals around this planet die. We're going to go in and kill Assad and topple Assad because we're not happy with the way he killed Syrians. So we're going to kill some Syrians to show him the correct way to kill Syrians. This is utter lunacy. A 5-page report that largely is made up of YouTube video clips and tweets. This is the evidence given to the people. Even Alan Grayson came out the other day shocked that at the intelligence briefing, the lack of information, the propaganda, the push for to have no dissent, no discussion amongst congressmen. They're supposed to, the ones who are not dyed-in-the-wool, sold-out politicians are supposed to go along to get along. See, this is where we're at. Go along to get along until this train comes off the rails. Economic data shows exactly that is occurring. 90 million Americans no longer count. 90 million Americans. Yet they can tell us that the unemployment rate has fallen when 516,000 are taken out. It makes no sense. Why? Because the message is tainted. The messages are tainted. We are heading towards disaster. It's time to wake up and realize this. Please take precautions under your own prudence. Take precautions for what you know is coming. It's inevitable. It's not a question of if. It's only a question of when. I don't think a thinking person can look around the world today and see a scenario playing out that has us as the pillars of freedom on this planet, as the thriving economy on this planet. It's coming to an end, and it's time to prepare for what's coming. If nothing else, mentally prepare. You don't want to be waylaid or shocked when the economic system implodes again, far, far worse than it did in 2008. You don't want to be set or caught off guard when another attack happens on this nation because we are intervening around this world destabilizing nation, creating terrorism and supporting it at the same time. You don't want to be taking the official propaganda. You don't want to be taking that as truth. We understand that the message has been corrupted and is tainted, and the messenger is corrupt and tainted. Stories are attached. That's all I got.